Hey everyone, welcome back to Northern High 420. Today we're going to cover the Arizer Solo 3. And this vape I've had for quite a while, probably about 5 months now, so I know it quite well. It's not one I've been able to get into. It's not something that I use regularly, but it is quite good when it works well for me. A few of the things that have kind of bothered me though, and I'm going to cover those right off the bat, is at times I have herb fall out of the stem and then it dries to the bottom or burns to the bottom of the chamber here, and it creates a combustion flavor and it's hard to kind of shake it. I had to use what the hell was it? A Mr. Clean Super Eraser, I think it's called, to clean it out, get the flavor out. Probably not the best thing to use, but it's what I had to do. So we're gonna go ahead and pack this guy up and take our first rip. Come on, Coop. And then with this, I load it very similarly to the Tiny Mite 2, and I brought a little stash with me. So we're going to use the straw method. And it's nice and full. Come on, Cooper, we're going to go this way today. Cooper! Coopy, come on. It's confused, we usually go the other way. So it's nice and full. I usually give it a little tamp so it doesn't fall out, and I try to shake it to make sure nothing's going to fall out, because that is a problem I've had pretty regularly since getting it. Was that a little bud will fall out and dry, and then it'll taste like crap for a while. The other thing was the stock stems. I am using a higher flow stem from Sneaky Pete. I think it makes a huge difference. It's got a mesh screen, not a glass screen. The glass screens, if I recall, have like 4 holes. They don't allow a lot of air, so it's kind of like pulling through a Dynavap, if that makes sense. It's not really for me. So turn this on, you hold it down to those 3 dots across, and then you release, and it'll turn on. And for the first one, we're just going to do session mode, and I have it set at max temp at 428. And it's relatively quick to heat up. I'd say maybe 20 seconds, somewhere in there, between 10 and 20 seconds. All right, so now it's fully heated up. We're gonna take our first rip. Decent little cloud on the first rip. Super tasty. When this thing's clean, it is super tasty. And then with a high airflow stem, you do get good airflow through it. We're gonna take our second rip. Another nice cloud. A little harsh, you're making me cough this morning. And I probably got one more in there. I'm kind of a 2 rip and done. When it's this brown, I usually ditch, but we'll do one more to show. Yeah, I would say I was almost toast. But the ABB comes out nice and dark in here. Then when I'm after done, I again check to make sure there's no dried shit to the bottom, so I don't have that problem. I usually blow in it to kind of clear anything that might be down there. Glass stems, extremely easy to clean. Soak it, rinse it is what I do. I do it pretty much daily if I'm using it, because I don't like to see all that crud in there. But very easy to clean. Chamber, I swab it. The other thing is, there's times when this stem fits super tight, so if it's a little heated up, it slides in much easier. Kind of a trick. But overall, this is a very good device at a very good price. I want to say I paid $220 for mine, but I know you can get the V1 for about $180 something, so it's not too bad. Come on, Coop. Adventurous today. Usually he's like right beside me. He's a good boy. He's loving this though. Beautiful day today, about 80 degrees. And we have our fall ride in town, so it's kind of cool. A lot of activity going on. I'm gonna try to get the VZ out downtown a little bit today, because it's kind of discreet. And I don't live somewhere where you can do that. So I like to test those things. I did that with the Taffy Bowl during 4th of July and it worked out great. Kind of see what I can get away with. But overall, the Solo 3, really don't have many complaints about it other than the flavor. If you end up charring the bowl, I keep an eye on him. And then my second complaint would be stock stem airflow, way too tight for me. So good vape. If I were to recommend this one, it's not in my top 5. I'll say that right now. It's not one of them that's going to be shaking up the list. But if I were to recommend this one, it's more of a home vape. Or if you're going somewhere and you have a place to set it down, kind of like the Taffy Bowl. It's not something you're probably going to carry around a lot when you're doing activities. If you want something a little more pocketable, there's better devices for that at that point. But there's a lot of situations, if you're not into buying a ball vape, this thing hits plenty hard enough to satisfy most people. It's very good. The battery life lasts quite a long time. I get probably over 12 bowls for it. So it's kind of really hard to fault in a lot of ways. It's just not something I've ever been able to truly get into. And a lot of that is, I don't like a lot of restriction in my vape. And then the size with the stem, it's not something I would carry personally. They do come with little plastic tubes that make quite a big difference. You can take it out and put it in your pocket. But I'm sure by now most of you know that I don't like keep carrying extra things, kind of like Tiny Mic 2. I don't like carrying extra batteries. So for me, that's a no-go when I leave the house. So this one has never really found a spot for me, unfortunately. But I have plenty of options, so it's kind of hard to justify this one when it really doesn't do anything better than something else I have. Kind of how I look at it. It's a rough one for me. But I've heard plenty of people that love this vape that I have no problem saying, if you buy one, you're probably going to like it, unless that herb falling out is going to bother you. Tight airflow has a fix. You can always buy the Sneaky Pete high airflow stem. These were pretty affordable. I want to say under $20. And then he makes a XL version in both the WPA and the regular stems, which is nice. Come on, Coop. There he is. Good boy. Cooper, we're gonna go to the right. Not that he understands that shit anyways. Looks like he did. So I don't have a lot to go over with this vape when it comes to that. So we're just gonna get into some comparisons quick. And we're gonna get out of here. And then my next video is going to be the VZ. Since I just got that, I would like to do a longer form first impression video about it, which I would expect early next week. And then we'll move on from there. So let's get to the comparisons. The first vape I'm going to compare it to is the Tiny Mic 2, because I think it's the most obvious, being it's stem loaded. The Tiny Mic 2 default stock has better airflow than the Solo 3. The Solo 3 is kind of similar when you get the high airflow stem. I wouldn't call that a big issue. The Tiny Mic 2 is much more pocketable. Problem with pocketing the Tiny Mic 2, in my opinion, is that it's got a really nice wood body. And if you have change and keys in your pockets, you can scratch it up. This is metal. Granted, you can scratch it, but it's going to be a lot more durable. But definitely not as pocketable. Tiny Mic 2 wins the portability test, in my opinion. Hit strength, I don't know. There's times when I feel like the Solo 3 has more hit power than the Tiny Mic 2. Flavor wise, I would say the Solo 3 probably beats the Tiny Mic 2, but the portability is quite different. And then they're both on-demand half session. This one has better temp control because you can set the exact temp, where, you know, Tiny Mic 2 you have the dial. Kind of the main differences. I like the Tiny Mic 2 better than this personally, but if this fits those needs, like if I was only buying a home vape, again, I'd probably choose the Tiny Mic 2 because the Tiny Mic 2 bowl and carrying the battery is really not even a problem at that point. So I would give the Tiny Mic 2 an edge. Next most obvious, in my opinion, is the Taffy Bowl, which is only on demand. Again, no temp control. I like Tiny Mic 2. You know, Dynamit's got dial, the Taffy bowl, it's got presets. So dialing in, you're kind of stuck with what you got there. With the Taffy, this has better range. This definitely hits harder. The Taffy, in my opinion, is much smoother. I think it tastes better, oddly, even though this is a glass stem. I prefer the Taffy bowl as a home vape because I get a lot more bowls, 25. It's much quicker. It's 2-second heat up time. It's realistically one of my favorite vapes. And then that's where the direct comparisons kind of fall off. Other vapes that kind of fall into that home use would probably be more like you get into your, your volcanoes and things like that. But this has the ability to leave the house. So I would honestly choose this over a volcano. I'm not a huge fan of that vape. I think it's overpriced, too big, and doesn't hit much better than a Venti. So kind of my thoughts on that. So let's go ahead and pack another one up. Cooper. I don't want him to run off. And we're going to stem load this one again. A little bud loaded up. And we're going to do a straw method. So pull in through the straw. And it'll pack it nice and loose so you get good airflow. Kind of like that. I'm going to add a little bit more in. And then when I'm packing this, I'm creating a little distance between the end of the glass and where the bud actually begins. Because for the same reason, I don't want it to fall in. And typically when I put the stem in, I hold the device upside down. And I almost hold it at a side. I know I didn't the first time, but I almost hold it at a side until I take my first rip. Because once you take the first rip, it kind of sticks together and doesn't fall out anymore. So again, hold the button down and release when the 3 dots cross. And we're going to go into on demand this time. A little sunny out, I can't see the screen. And then for on demand, you hold the up button. And there's a bar, it's going to be hard to see, but there's a bar with little lines that you go up. And as they go up, the heat temp increases. I'm having a really hard time seeing this in the sun. Okay, so maybe it's a tap. Tap to start, look like, and then hold. It's been a while since I've used this vape. Alright, so it's also pretty quick. So now it looks like it's heated up. We're going to take our first rip. Nice big cloud. When it comes to vapor power, this is as strong as any vape you'll find that's portable. You have to work harder for it because it's a lot tighter, but it hits up there with the best of them. I mean, this is where I think this vape comes in the best for my recommendations. If you're looking for a budget, truly heavy hitting portable, and I would use portable with a grain of salt because of the size and the stem, this is the best bang for the buck I have seen yet at under $200 for the V1. For the types of hits you get, it's quite amazing. I don't love this vape. It's not one of my favorites. It's something that I rarely use, but damn, for the price, you're getting for about 200 bucks, one of the best tasting vapes on the market, one of the best battery lives, and one of the best hit strings. There's really not a lot to love about this. It's just when you got plenty of vapes, it kind of a hard time finding a spot. So overall, I really recommend the Solo 3. I think it's a great vape. It is not going to be in my top 5, but I highly recommend this to just about anyone that doesn't mind the fact that they might have to work to clean the chamber if some bud falls out. Because that is my biggest complaint with it, and it's the main reason I don't like using it. Outside of that, as long as your chamber's nice and clean and you got that high airflow stem, it's a hard vape to beat. It just doesn't do anything the best. It has compromises, but at $200 in the budget space, I think you're getting a premium vape at a budget price with the Arizer Solo 3. I cannot say that about other Arizer products I have tried. I've never owned another one, but I've tried a few, and most of them have been underwhelming. This doesn't have that problem. So overall, highly recommend the Arizer Solo 3 if you're looking for a vape that's on a budget. You can't really do better than this at $200. If you go lower, you can find some things that hit as hard, like the Lobo hits as hard, And that vape I'm a big fan of also. It does not taste great. The taste is not good, but it will get the job done for about $120 to $150. I've seen that. I know I paid $119 for mine. So until next time, see you guys all later. Have a good one. Bye.